Hey, welcome back. I want to start this episode with a question that sounds ridiculous until you sit with it for a second. Your laptop processes information using ones and zeros. Everything it does, every calculation, every search, every video, comes down to bits that are either on or off. That is how every computer on Earth has worked for 80 years. Quantum computers don't use ones and zeros. They use something called qubits, which can be both 1 and 0 at the same time. That single difference makes quantum computers capable of solving problems that would take today's most powerful supercomputers millions of years to crack. Drug discovery, climate modeling, cryptography, financial risk. The applications are almost limitless. After our last video on Oklo, today we're going into the company that just became the first public quantum computing business in history to cross $100 million in revenue. Episode 7 of Ticker Talk, IonQ, ticker IonQ. Let's get into it. IonQ was founded in 2015 by two physicists from the University of Maryland. They went public in 2021, making them one of the first pure-play quantum companies accessible to everyday investors. Their technology is called trapped ion quantum computing. Plain English version, a normal computer bit is a transistor, either on or off. IonQ's qubits are actual atoms, held in place by electromagnetic fields. By firing lasers at these ions, they perform quantum operations. The advantage is exceptionally high accuracy. In late 2025, IonQ achieved a world record 99.99% 2-qubit gate fidelity. They're building a full-stack quantum platform, computing, networking, security, and sensing, all under one roof. Customers access it through Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud. Active partnerships include NVIDIA, AstraZeneca, and the US government. The numbers. And here's where I find this genuinely interesting compared to every other episode we've done. Most of the stocks we've covered are pre-revenue or early revenue. IonQ is different. Full year 2025 revenue, $130 million, up 202% year over year. They beat their own guidance by 20%. Q4 alone was $61.9 million, 429% higher than the same quarter a year earlier. More than 60% of that revenue came from commercial customers, not government contracts. International sales made up over 30%. For 2026, IonQ is guiding $225 to $245 million in revenue, roughly doubling again. Cash on the balance sheet, $3.3 billion. The catch, still deeply unprofitable. Adjusted EBITDA loss guided at $310 to $330 million for 2026. They are spending heavily to build the infrastructure for a technology that is still in its early commercial phase. The market cap sits at approximately $17 billion. The biggest move of 2026, the Skywater acquisition. In January, IonQ announced it would acquire Skywater Technology, the largest purely US-based semiconductor foundry, for $1.8 billion. Until now, IonQ outsourced chip manufacturing to third parties, meaning long wait times and limited supply chain control. Skywater brings design, fabrication, and deployment entirely in-house on US soil. The target is a 200,000 qubit chip by 2028. The CEO called it the final piece of the puzzle. bull case, and I think it's more grounded than most quantum stories. IonQ is the only public company that has already crossed $100 million in quantum computing revenue. Not theoretical, happening. The 202% growth rate says commercial demand is real. Skywater creates a manufacturing moat no competitor currently has. The US government's strategic interest in domestic quantum supply chains gives IonQ a privileged position in defense contracts for years ahead. Bear case. Quantum computing is still early. Most use cases today are experimental. The timeline to fault-tolerant quantum capable of solving the most valuable problems is years away, possibly a decade. IBM, Google, and Microsoft all have quantum programs with significantly more capital. The $1.8 billion Skywater acquisition introduces real execution risk. Integrating a semiconductor foundry is a major undertaking. And at $17 billion market cap, the valuation assumes market leadership that still has to be proven. Here's where I land on this. What I find most interesting about IonQ is that the revenue isn't speculative anymore. $130 million in real GAAP revenue, tripling year on year, commercial customers in the majority. That shifts the conversation from "will quantum ever work" to "how fast will it scale?" The Skywater deal is the boldest move in the sector this year, and it either makes IonQ uncatchable or it's the acquisition that stretched them too far. That's IonQ, the company making quantum computing real, one qubit at a time. Educational purposes only, not financial advice. Do your own research. Like and subscribe. New episode every week. See you in the next one, and have a great week ahead.